Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news. We are back with Glenn for the Cossy and Glenn podcast. And this time, we talk about a breakthrough. We talk about Arsenal's second signing of the summer as we progress, as we move closer to agreeing personal terms with Riccardo, Calafiori. Bologna have given us the green light to talk to the player, and Arsenal are very confident that we are going to win this race. As Juventus fibble out, as Chelsea, chicken out of paying that 50 million euros that have been asked for. And of course, as Leverkusen waste their time, because when Arsenal speak, Leverkusen cannot speak. Glenn, welcome back to the show. This time, we are dealing with a breakthrough.
We are dealing with a breakthrough. Finally, as promised you guys, July, we're expecting a lot of deals to be done. Obviously, June was quiet for a lot of reasons, but now in July, we're expecting a lot of incomings and outgoings. And this could be the second signing now after the rare one, and that is within 3 days. Within 3 days into July, already hearing breakthroughs, and this would be an exciting signing for me. I think it's really shown us how good he is at the Euros.
Yeah. So absolutely. Let's start there. It has now been revealed by Nicolo Shearer that Arsenal want to sign Riccardo Calafiori and get the deal done before the 21st of July when our preseason starts. Actually, Mikel wants him before the 21st. So that could be this week. That could be latest next week because we have preseason. And probably could join. I don't know if those 2 weeks are enough for him to be on break after the Italian national team were kicked out of the Euros earlier on. Do you think that Riccardo Calafiori and a couple of other deals that Arsenal want to make are going to happen? Like within the next 2 weeks, we're going to see a lot of what Arsenal has been hiding behind the scenes.
Listen, the Euros kind of affected all the deals. I'm still trying to figure out whether we actually. I'm still trying to figure out whether we actually wanted him before the Euros. But in terms of affecting, listen, this is a player that is a very, very good player. Other teams have wanted him, so maybe that can affect us. I am pretty sure we are going to hear about it. I think the Euros affected it. He's going to be on holiday. I think he can still get the medical done because I've seen Palhinha. I've seen Palhinha's moved to Bayern, and he's currently at the Euros. So I don't know whether the deal gets signed and then he'll do the medical later. I think if Arsenal and Bologna agree very, very quickly, I think we'll just get it done, and then we'll be like, okay, you guys should do the medical or whatever, and then he can come and do the medical. I think it's going to take. By 10th, I think you're going to already hear, here we go. And then medical, medical is really exciting, but people usually kind of, no player usually fails medical, really, not too many.
Some do.
Very few. Very few. So the moment you hear that Fabrizio and David Onsen have said, here we go and all that, I think you've already signed the player. I don't think anything else will affect it. I don't think, since we're now in July and the preseason is starting around, I'm still confusing our games. Is it
21st? Yeah, 21st.
That is Bournemouth. Is Bournemouth the first one?
21st is Manchester United. 24th is Bournemouth. 27th is Liverpool.
Okay, so I think you're going to get it done by then, because I'm also seeing like new updates popping up from different reporters saying we're trying to get it done before the preseason. I think we are going to get it done before the preseason. I don't think anything else is going to cover it. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Joel was saying that my volume is not enough, but I think they can hear me.
I think I personally can hear you very well. I could increase volume a little bit here.
No problem.
So with Riccardo Calafiori, let us start here, Glenn. The big headline on this stream is that Arsenal are in advanced negotiations with the player on to agree personal terms. We have been given the green light from his camp and the player as well to talk to Bologna and agree a price for him. let's start with personal terms, because in order for you to agree personal terms, the player must first accept the project that you offered. Fabrizio Romano today has revealed that Arsenal have been accepted, and the project has been accepted. So why do you think our project has beat Bayer Leverkusen, has beat PSG? I was surprised that PSG were there, and I've also beat the likes of Chelsea. I don't think we've beaten Juventus. Juventus have their own reasons for not actually engaging that we'll talk about. But how different is the Arsenal proposal if you were to look into it?
Now, first, I heard you say in one of the videos, Leverkusen are wasting their time. I was like, because he can make sure he doesn't join Leverkusen because they have Alonso. I think they have the factor of Alonso these days. I think he can attract a lot of players in terms of that. Now,
And of course, they've sold Jonathan Tah. They need someone there. They will have the cash to pay, and I think they will make a big sell, another big sell. Maybe Jeremy Frimpong, maybe Florian Wirtz. So they could have the cash.
Now, in terms of Juventus, we've already been told they got Thiago Motta. He doesn't really want to move there. Bologna don't want him to go to Juventus.
Move there.
Two important people from Bologna within a couple of weeks. They don't want that. And the player, if they're not put a block on it, Juventus would have been the team that I've been worried about, because if he wants to stay in Italy, he could go to an AC Milan, he could go to a Juventus, and from that point on, it's very difficult to convince a player, because someone like Zubimendi would want to stay in Spain, a couple of players would want to stay in England, other players would want to stay in Brazil, depending on the country, players might want to stay there. So Juventus is out. It's already been confirmed that he's out. That is the reason Bologna don't want to sell him to them. But if they're not put the block in, I would have expected him to go to Juventus. That's a very easy move. Now, for the other teams, I actually wasn't worried about PSG. Now,
I was worried about PSG because they have a project that is running under, kind of being underrated. It's going under the radar. When you look at the number of young players, you look at Vitinha, that's a PSG player. You look at Randall Colomwani, that's a PSG player. You look at Goncalo Ramos, that's a PSG player. Zaimri, that's a PSG player. Bakola, Dembele. They have a project that's going on, and people are just not noticing it.
The only thing I would say is Enrique has now decided to stay there, so maybe now a bit of settlement and stuff that can make a player make a decision and say, okay, you know what, that is fine. I'm going to go there because they have a settled project. But I felt like with Mbappe leaving, I felt like it was going to kind of make other players think, players be thinking like, okay, they've sold Mbappe, I don't know how they're going to be. Let's wait to another season. Let's see how they do first. But in terms of if they're changing their project, well and good. But they still have some players that can move on and stuff. So I wasn't really worried about PSG. The only thing that PSG worry me about is money, not project. In terms of money, if they can come and say 100 million and just blow us out of the park and we can't do anything about it, they can come and offer him 300,000 a week. I think he's being paid like 16,000 a week at Bologna. That is very little. They can come and give him 10 times that PSG. And you can't really outbeat them and stuff. For Leverkusen, I felt like Grimaldi is there. They have other players can play there, but you can play as a centre back, as you say, to replace Star. I've actually the most worried about is Juventus and then Leverkusen, because Leverkusen do have a very good project now. They've won the league in the first time in their history. They're now in the Champions League. They're trying to go further next season. I think their project would be better than PSG right now. They are looking to retain it next season, maybe go a step further, go further and win the Champions League, or maybe go and win the Europa League, wherever they're going to be next season. So that is a project I was really worried about in terms of Leverkusen. I was very surprised to hear you saying they should go out. In terms of
why I said they should go out is yes, they do have Xabi Alonso, and it's going to be a very important guy for them. But I think eventually that squad gets depleted. Eventually that the Man Cities of this world, the Bayerns of this world, the Madrids of this world, they're going to come in. They will handpick players from there. Jonathan Tah has been picked from there, one of their best centre backs. I think Vats will leave eventually. I think Grimaldo will leave eventually. I think that that project, it might stay together next season, but after next season, then clubs start handpicking players from there.
Now, those teams, all three of those teams can offer Champions League football just like us. So 100%. If they offer, that, and they pay more money and decides to go to those teams, that could happen. But we've been told it's not going to go to Juventus. And I believe we're ahead of PSG, Leverkusen. I'm not sure. Now, in terms of Chelsea, they have the factor of London, just like us. People love to go and stay in London. But the thing that they don't have is Champions League. Yeah, Premier League. They don't have the Champions League football, though. And that is something that they really want. I don't see why you should move from Bologna Champions League team to Chelsea, a Conference League team, and they're not 100% sure. That feels so good saying it by there. They used to make jokes about us. I don't see why there's no.
I hate the person who introduced the Conference League. Chelsea should not have any European football this season
at all, and that really counts really for me. The teams are going to be playing there. So for Calafiori, the only thing I've just thought about a couple of hours ago in terms of Chelsea, I've had Chelsea they're ready to swap players. I mean, if that is the case, if Kivio has to leave Arsenal, I really want him to stay. But if he has to leave Arsenal, I'd rather take him to Bologna than to Juventus because Juventus are not really helping us. Now for Chelsea, because he was at Spezia,
when you think about the caliber of clubs that are in for Kivio, Napoli, AC Milan, Juve. You don't see him go to Bologna, do you?
For Chelsea, I just thought Maresca is Italian, isn't he?
Yeah. That is something I was thinking about, by the way.
Yeah, that is. I was thinking the project is not settled. We have a settled project. We can tell them, listen, we have Arteta. He's been here for 5 years. We're cooking this. There's Odegaard here. Saka is settled here. Look at the player signing new contracts. You're going to play as a left back. You see Kivia is leaving. That is your position now. Chelsea can probably offer the same. I'm hearing they want to sell Chilwell, but they still have players like Ukarea and Colwell who can play there. And they can't offer the Champions League football, and they can't offer a settled project. But I don't know how much Maresca knows the player individually or in a personal note. I don't know, but that could be the only thing. In terms of money, I'm always fine. I don't believe in the let's do it quickly so that Chelsea don't come in. If we bid right now, Chelsea are going to bid as well. It's not like a secret. If we bid 40 million and Chelsea come and bid 100 million, you let them have the player. If that's the case, you let them have the player. If they pay incredible money, but I feel like we're ahead of Chelsea in a lot of things right now. The only teams I would be worried about is Juventus and Leverkusen, and Juventus is out of the race. Now it's only really Leverkusen, and I feel, as you said, they want to come to the Premier League. So I'm very confident about this one. And I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if the chat knows this. Bologna have just signed a defender today. Who can play on the left side? Is Miranda or something? Miranda from Betis.
From Betis.
Real Betis. So it shows that it's definitely going to move.
The deal is progressing. So personal terms, guys, are very, very advanced. Arsenal and the player are talking final stages on on personal terms. We should get a clarification on that before we go to bed today. And like I said, if it breaks, you get it from Cossy, you get it from Glenn. Now, Glenn, he's earning 16. This is a market opportunity. This is a market opportunity for 40 million. We're going to talk about the price, but for 40 million, for you to get a player that is earning 16, you can easily blow his wages out of proportion. You can easily blow his wages out of proportion. But the problem with him earning 16 is there so many clubs that are looking at his wages as a way of getting to him. Like, can we multiply it 10 times? Can we multiply it by maybe 5 times and that? So where do you think the salary should start? For a player like Calafiori, many clubs want him. You're looking at PSG in the corner of your eye. Do we offer him 100K straight, or do we offer him more than 100K, or a little bit less than that?
Oh, more than 100K is too much. Now back in the day, we used to give players some stupid contracts. I think Mustafi was on 100,000 plus, some random players. I think Bellerin, 100,000 plus. Yeah. Like, we were giving players too much money, and then we were struggling to get rid of them. Yeah. Now, yes, I mean, people would say, now that's why Arsenal fans would be like, no, you're doing too slow if you go and give him 30 and then Chelsea come with 100,000. No, I mean, if it's just us in Chelsea right now, I'd try and 3 times. So I'll go for 50.
Three times. I think that's too small, Glenn. That is very small.
From 16.
It's very small. It's very
as
small.
The beginning one.
No. Yeah, it's very small. You're looking at if you offer him 50 right now, even Leverkusen can give him double that. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if they do, then you can go with that. So then you can double it as well. But at the moment, they've said Arsenal and Chelsea are the only teams that are there. If another team comes in, unless you really want to do it quickly, then you can go with the 100,000.
I think 100 might be too much, but I was thinking in the region of 85,000 a week, 90,000 a week.
The thing we usually say about starting the year, actually the one who taught me about this, starting from a low point and then take it high, or start from a high point and take it low. Because we could, just like Declan Rice and West Ham, if you went to West Ham and said, okay, by the way, we have 100 million, They said, actually, you know what, we want 150. So
Yeah,
we can go and say to Calafiori, okay, actually we have 90,000 right now, and they're like, no, if they
you
have
want
90,000, we want 140. If they're really ready to offer that. But I do see what you're saying. Any other team can just come and just do that, and then maybe the player can feel like, this Arsenal is really playing with my head.
Yeah,
I'm going to go to a different team. So I think the safest way is around 80, and then you see how it develops from that. I don't think Chelsea have a cap. Chelsea don't pay players these days more than 150k. So we know that they're not going to go as high as that. I was also looking at which is our priority, unless if you give him 100k and then you go and sign Gyökeres or Osimhen and then you pay them 200 and something k, then that means you have to go to get rid of one of the Jesus or parties in this world. Unless the thing is, we have a very good wage structure. I think we have the lowest in terms of the top 6 teams. So we've really balanced ourselves well. The last 5-6 years, we've not overpaid, and we've gotten rid of players who are being paid a lot of money. So actually thinking about it, we've done our business well. So I think we can actually afford to give a few players, 90k, 100k. So okay, I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to say 80k then.
Yeah, 80k is okay. With him right now, he is it's the way you would wake up in the morning, and government has said where you are, we are going to develop that area. So literally they're going to move you on, but it's you to decide to decide how much you want, right? So I think he's looking at PSG, he's looking at Chelsea, he's looking at Arsenal, he's looking at Juventus. It's like, I am not going to get 50k. I am not going to get 60k or 70k. Minimum for me, it would be around 80k, 90k. That's where initially the deal would be agreed, and then as it develops into a formidable centre back, becomes the Salibas of this world, probably the Bastanis of this world in the future, I could see him even earning 200,000 if his talent is combined with hard work, consistency, and progress as well.
So if he came and did well, you can be willing to offer him another contract to increase it. If he comes and becomes a starter and it does very well, immediately take it up.
In the next 2 years.
The next 2 years, because there's a few players who I think need to add their wages, like Odegaard and all those players. I think we need to add their wages. Maybe Saliba even soon as well. So yeah, I do understand, but I think he kind of deserves it if he's coming to be a start.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Now, in terms of the price, I've been shocked today, really shocked, and I need you to make sense of this. Bologna have asked for 50 million euros, not pounds, 50 million euros, and every outlet out there is saying that this is very expensive for Chelsea. This is very expensive for Juventus. But Bologna have made it expensive because they want to give 50% to Basel. Actually, I thought it would be like 60 million pounds. His 50 million euros. That's around 47 million pounds, maybe 42 million pounds. I don't know. Yeah. Like, are you surprised at the price, or you think they've just set it to ease negotiations and get it out of the way?
The first time we talked about this and I asked you that, you told me like 70 million. That's what you're expecting it to be. Now, if it was 70, I don't think us would have gone for him. That's the thing. So I think one of the reasons we've actually gone for him is because it's that around 50 million euros. Now, the thing is, we've only seen one good season in terms of Bologna. Yes, I think he played for Roma, he played for Basel. I don't know how good he was at those teams. But the fact that they have to pay 50% to Basel because of a sell-on clause, either way, they're making a profit. I think they signed him for like 4 or 5 million. Even if they sell him for 40 and they give away 20, they're still making a good 15 million profit. Now, the only thing that they can say, if I was a Bologna employee or something, I'd be like, let's try and keep him for one more season, that can get doubled if he has another good season, and this time in the Champions League where people are going to be seeing him, and a few other games for Italy, and there we're going to sell him for like 70, 80. But for 50 million euros, I think that is a very, very good price. That is an opportunity I was talking about. Personally, I don't want Arsenal to sign any defenders. I want us to get a midfielder, a striker, and a winger. But as I've always said to Cossy, if a defender becomes available that is really good, an opportunity, a defender that you can't let go of, like the time we signed Saliba, I think it was an opportunity. Tottenham wanted him at that time. Actually, Tottenham were about to get Saliba. Goodness me, imagine if you went to Tottenham, that would have been terrible. So that was an opportunity that we had to take. So I think Calafiori is an opportunity that has popped up that we have to take. So for 50 million euros, it really does help us. I don't know if that was their plan before the transfer. And I feel like they needed a defender. They wanted a defender. They wanted players like Hato.
The one thing I can confirm from Fabrizio is before Arsenal putting anything on their list, number one was a centre back, because even David Ornstein, as he was talking about Arsenal transfers in March, Arsenal, he was talking about an Arsenal, an Arsenal signing for a left-sided defender. Then we started hearing midfielders, probably one, probably two, a striker from Fabrizio around May, around I think May, yeah, April, May, and then of course a new goalkeeper, depending on Ramsdale's situation. But even Fabrizio today said that Arsenal have three concrete options at left back. So that shows you that
Mhm.
that they look at that position as priority.
Yeah, true. And the three concrete options, I was thinking about them. I think Kadioglu could be one of them.
And Gehi.
And Gehi, and maybe Hatu before that. I don't know. Probably Gehi, but probably Gehi. Now,
Mm.
in terms of getting into the transfer window, a lot of people wanted a striker, midfield, and a winger. Now, for Arteta, I feel like he is not obsessed because our defense is working. We're not
He's
conceding
obsessed.
goals, and
He's obsessed
now
about
it's obsessed. But it's a correct obsession because it's working. Sometimes you're obsessed with something, it's not true. You need to get away from it. Now, the fact that we keep a lot of clean sheets and we allow teams to have one shot in a game, and the moment the strikers know that our defense is really good, they just need to. Just one goal could be enough to win the game because you're not going to consider goal behind. It's absolutely fine. And signing someone, I think, because he said there's reports that came out 2 weeks ago that said Timber is not going to be used as a left back. He's going to be used as a backup for Saliba. Tomiyasu is not going to be used as a left back. He's going to be used for a backup for Saliba and Ben White on the right side. So that means all the players on the right side, and most of you don't want Zinchenko as a left back. So that leaves us with no one at left back. Tierney, by the way, Tierney and Tavares are still Arsenal players, but they're going to be sold. We have a lot of defenders right now. We have like more than 10, but most of them are going to leave. So that leaves the left back position open. So for me, I was thinking if you're going to bring a player, make sure you have like two players in each position. So you have White and Tomiyasu, Saliba and Timber, Gabriel and Kivio, and then Zinchenko and the left back. That would have been ideal, but feels like one of them is going to leave. We don't really have, we have left backs who can invert and all that, but maybe he's looking for a left back who can do all of it. And I think Calafiori is one of them. He can play as a centre back, he can play as a full back, he can go forward and create chances, he can defend, he can create a relationship with Gabriel and all that, he can invert sometimes. He's young as well, and Arteta loves defense, especially left-footed defenders on that side. We started with Pablo Mari. Pablo Mari is Arteta's first signing, if I'm not wrong. True. I think it was Pablo Mari, so a defender, left-sided defender. But what I'd say, yes, Cedric, good. Thanks for reminding me. What I would say is the defenders that we've signed, most of them have worked. Under Arteta, Gabriel, Ben White, and Timber we haven't seen enough of. Tomiyasu we know is a good defender. Saliba wasn't an Arteta signing, but he brought him back, and you've seen how much he's done for us. Zinchenko first season great, second season not great. So I'm happy to keep on improving the defense. If it means you're going to keep 25 clean sheets, it can help. It can help us. But I still felt like I would have focused on the other positions still.
Mikel is one guy you can't predict. Today you think he needs a midfielder. Tomorrow he signs a centre back who can play as a striker, as a goalkeeper. Now, someone said in the comment section when I broke this story that remember Arsenal, Mikel Arteta wanted Lisandro Martinez, and that actually, for me, for the time I've been on this channel, that is the best comment that someone has put up in terms of discussion, because it just brings out the line of defenders we've looked at ever since Lisandro Martinez. So we looked at Lisandro Martinez, and he didn't reject Arsenal, but he decided to work with the manager he's worked with. You understand that.
Yeah.
After that, Arsenal went with Alexander Zinchenko. We were told that he was immediately Arsenal's second option. Very different in terms of what they do defensively, but you can see the picture of Lisandro Martinez on the ball, Zinchenko on the ball, inverting it to midfield, underlapping and all that. They are very, very similar in that way. And when you think about Kivio, again, Mikel Arteta has been exploring that line of, can I get a centre back with a good left foot who can be a ball-playing centre back? Then, of course, he's tried Tomiyasu in that area. Tomiyasu can play with his left foot, right foot as well, but maybe not very good as the likes of Kivio on the ball, but you can see the idea. And lastly, Gilles and Timber recently. So do you think that this is, for Mikel Arteta, this is an opportunity to replace the signing of Lisandro Martinez he didn't get?
I think you're right. I think that comment is spot on because the players
Spot on.
we've been looking at that side, it's probably never gotten the player that he really wants. Now, I don't
Mm.
know if we should be very happy that he didn't get Martinez because of the injuries. I don't know if you would have had those injuries at Arsenal, but maybe it's a relief that we
No,
didn't get him.
I think he would have had those injuries because Mikel again doesn't rotate players. So
Okay, now so for Kivio, I think we got him as a kind of emergency signing and someone to hold, give us that for meantime. I don't even think we really signed him to play as a left back, really, because maybe it just surprised us in training and you're like, oh, Kivio can play as a left back, let's use him there. So I think it's important. I think he's definitely looked for a play on that side. And Timber came in as a right back, centre back, and then we are using him on the left side. Maybe felt Zinchenko is not really the best of defenders. I think Zinchenko will not be, so I think he's going to be pushed to midfield or something, or maybe just a backup role. So Lisandro Martinez, that ball playing left back. I tell you, someone who would have been really good for us this today, Vermaelen. Vermaelen would have been really good for us today because he was that kind of. Ateta would have loved Vermaelen. Like, he can play left back.
Is he the most talented centre back we saw under Arsene Wenger though? Like,
yeah, I'd say yes.
For me,
The ball striking, the way you'd get forward and score last minute goals, the passing ability, very comfortable on the ball. Ateta would have loved Vermaelen. So that kind of player like Lisandro Martinez, we've been looking for a player like that. We haven't really had that. Gabriel cannot really, carry the ball for you on the left side. It's really just, solid centre back. You keep him there. And there's not too many players who can fit that bill. That's what you've said about Lisandro Martinez. Players who can play left back, left centre back, and carry the ball and defend well, aggressive and still good at going forward. There's not too many defenders who are like that. And I think Calafiori is one of them. And it's an opportunity that has popped up. So you have to take advantage of it. I think I start looking at it like, actually, I'm not going to get a player like this. I also think like the Harvard signing was an opportunity. Maybe looked at it like, okay, I can't get a player who's going to play midfield and also go forward. Let's take advantage of this. So that makes me think then it's something that has popped up the last 2 weeks or something. Maybe they've seen him. They're like, oh, he's actually available. Let's change our plans in terms of this and let's go for him. I don't think maybe they've scouted him before, but they weren't really going to think like he was going to be available. But I think he will fit that bill for him. And then if Calafiori comes in, then I think we'd probably not signing a defender for the next 1, 2, 3 transfers again.
Yeah, sure. Now, Fabrizio says that he's top 2 in terms of priority. So it means that among the options we have 2 that Mikel Arteta really likes. We know the one who the Athletic have been talking about. That is Joao Hatso. Arsenal have been like crazy about Joao Hatso. But the second one now has been revealed is Kadioglu. Sorry, is Calafiori. I do confuse them a little bit. Now, when Fabrizio says that it's a group of 3 players that Arsenal are looking at left back, that means that this position is very important for Mikel this summer, right? So do you think McGahey would have been the other option? Because I still feel that the Athletic pointing to McGahey, and they have not released anything from on the Calafiori point of view. Probably the Athletic knew something about the McGahey deal, but Arsenal have just moved quickly on Calafiori.
I think those are the players they're looking at. I don't think they've looked at 3 left backs with different styles of play. Different profiles. I don't think. I think they've definitely looked at the same because it's really serious on that position. I didn't actually think we needed a left back, but the truth is, Timber is not a left back, and most people know Zinchenko is not really a left back, and Tomiyasu not really a left back. So that is the truth. We actually don't have a left back apart from the players who are going to leave in Tierney and Tavares. Like if Tierney and Tavares, one of them was like very good, would have saved us a lot of headache in that position. Now, I think Gay definitely was looked at because he also fits that profile of a player who can play with the ball. He can play those 2 positions. He can go forward. He can basically play with 4 centre backs, knowing the one on the right is a right footer, the one on the left is a left footer, the one playing at left centre back is a left footer, and the one on the right centre back position is a right footer. I think he wants that in terms of the defenders. So I think Calafiori would fit that. And also in terms of a backup for Gabriel, I think Calafiori can do the job as well. So Gay, I'm sure he's been looked at for sure, but it would be so hard to deal with Crystal Palace. Now, the question for the third one is Hato a left footer?
Yeah, Hato is a left footer.
So he would fit that profile as well. So I think those probably the 3 players we looked at.
According to the Athletic, Hato was top priority.
Yeah. So I think those are the three players that you've been looked at. I was thinking Kadioglu, but Kadioglu is just predominantly a
Yeah, left,
left back who
left
can
back.
play forward positions, left wing, and all that. So I think you can still have like a Calafiori signing for you and also a Kadioglu still signing for you. That is possible. I don't think you can have a Calafiori and also again in the same team. So I think you're right. I think he's been looking at those particular three defenders, and then he's very serious in getting those defenders. I think he tried Kivio. That's why I think maybe that's the reason he tried Kiwi at left back to see where they can do that job for him. But it feels like nah, he's not very good at in terms of left back. Let me get someone who can play both positions. And I think he's stumbled upon one. I think I think you're going to move very quickly in this one because in terms of priorities these days, we usually move so quickly in terms of getting
Yeah.
priorities.
Personally, I don't think I'm far away from Glenn. I think Gehi, Hato have been the two players that Arsenal have scouted enough, but they found that they found the Calafiori opportunity. I think too good, and they've decided why don't we go for this deal, and later on we can actually go and deal with other situations
Positions,
as we
yeah.
get. Yeah, other positions. As we get into the comment section, Glenn, do you think that Calafiori costing 50 million might we might see Arsenal back out of signing one of the other positions that we were looking to? Probably they're looking it as at it as an opportunity, and they're like, we can deal with one of these other positions next summer.
Oh, that's a tough question. Now, I don't think you're going to back out in terms of signing a striker. I think you're going to get a striker.
Mm.
The one that they would back out of is the winger position. I think they would be like, okay, Martinelli, we're going to trust you next season. We want the Martinelli from 2 seasons ago. They trust Trossard again, and they're like, Saka, 38 games again for you, buddy. You have to do 38 games again for us on the right side. I don't know what else they're going to do in terms of maybe depend on Fabi Vieira to help out Saka on that side, or maybe like they will still get players in those positions, but cheaper now, not expensive. For me, I don't mind getting a 15 million winger. It's fine if you get a 15 million winger like a solid match from Brighton. That is fine for a backup. But there's other positions you can't really buy a player for 10 million and survive. Goalkeeper, striker. Those ones I don't think a 10 million player will do the job for you. But backup winger, backups left back, you can get a 10 million player and they can still help you. So I think we are going to. I don't think it's going to affect too much, but yeah, I can see it. If it does affect, it's going to be a wing. I still think you're going to get a midfielder. Atta also loves midfielders and will be linked to a lot. So left back, midfielder, strike. I think you're going to get winger. Now is the one that I'm like, I'm not 100% sure that you're really going to go and splash that money for the wingers that you've been linked to.
Okay. So we're gonna get into the comment section a little bit. Glenn, as we get into the comments, I want you to think about this. I was asked a question. Who is the better centre back? Who's the better player actually? Is it Calafiori? Is it Gabriel Magalhaes? I froze a little bit. So as I ran it through the comments, think about that. And also, Julian Timber is one of the most loved players at Arsenal. And I was asked whether Calafiori comes in and Timber sits on the bench because many people don't see him sit on the bench. And if he doesn't sit, what are the likely changes and formations we are going to see? We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. Shadrach says, hi guys, don't talk about Osimhen. Wisdom says we need a striker. Paul says we need a striker as well. Glenn says, thanks for watching. Wow. Wisdom says, my name is Wisdom. Arsenal should go and get Calafiori. He is good before other orders get in. I'm begging you. I thought you guys didn't know about Calafiori. How did you get to know that he's so good like this? Robin says, Thomas Vermaelen was really a talented defender. I mean, we could say that one of the most talented Arsenal have had, in recent years. Rafael says, after Calafiori, the team should move for a striker and a midfielder. Then we are good to go. Okay. I think most of the people would agree with you. Anthony says, Gerard Hato is a ball-carrying centre back, and so is Calafiori, and so is McGahey. I mean, don't look at McGahey in this Southgate setup. Look at McGahey at Crystal Palace. Rafael says, hello guys, for Calafiori, it will be a decent signing for Arsenal, which means Zinchenko or Kivio must move on. But I feel Zinchenko is the player to be shipped out of the team. A wonderful signing that would be. Pick up to Patrick. He says, Cossy and Glenn. He says, Cossy and Glenn, I like Gyökeres, Williams, Kimmich, Calafiori. and then you're done. Then I'm done. That would be your best window. Gyökeres, that's good. Williams, that's good. Kimmich, that's good. Calafiori, that's good. You don't have a goalkeeper there, so if Ramsdale leaves, then who do we turn to? Robert says we are going. We are waiting for that. Here we go. It will be very, very nice to hear that. Here we go. James also says, I want Timber in that right hand side because most goals were from the right hand side of Ben White last season. If we scored a lot of goals
Mm.
on the right hand side with Ben White, then why are you looking to change it? Why are you looking to drop him? I mean, I don't understand it.
I think it means like goals conceded.
Oh, goals conceded. So he thinks that Ben White is a defensive problem.
And I don't agree with that. Completely don't agree with that. Actually,
Mm.
in terms of if you look at the last 2 seasons and you look at the kind of, I mean, I know like when he plays against Rashford, he usually has a tougher time. That I agree. Those players who play on the right back and left back, you're going to, Ben White will be up against Sadio Mane, he'll be up against Zaha, he'll be up against Son. It's tough. So some games you're going to have it tough against those quick left wingers and stuff. You're going to definitely have it tough. So I don't agree with that. I don't think he gets exposed too much. Maybe you can count maybe 4 games out of the 38. He's a player who's improved going forward. He's a player who has also improved in terms of, he's defending as well, the communication with Saliba and all that. Yes, he might concede goals from that, but if you look at the goals that you've considered in terms of mistakes, guess who's the only player who's not really made a mistake directly leading to a goal?
Mm.
It's Ben White. All the others, Zinchenko's made a mistake against Wolves. I know Saliba's made a mistake against Nottingham. I know Gabriel made a mistake against Liverpool. I know Ramsdale made a mistake against this one. It's only Ben White really that has not like given away the ball and then we've considered a goal. But yeah, Timber is still a good player for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Now, let's see what you people are saying. Paul says we need a striker. I can see many of you actually are convinced on this striker thing. So I hope Arsenal really work very quickly to get a striker in this summer because it would be something very, very good. John says, good evening, guys. Just joined, you people. This guy's was playing for which club? He's playing for Bologna. And Arsenal at the moment could be, Arsenal could be in talks with Bologna very, very soon. Hey, my brothers, I know this is Farmside. I know this debate for Timber and other defenders will not end, but for me, I feel like Arteta should try Timber in the number 6. So, Glenn, let's start off with the tactical tweaks and let's start off with the casualties, right?
Mm.
I think we know that Kivio and Zinchenko are like, they're like day and light casualties. They are going to lose their starting positions and their minutes are going to reduce significantly when you get a player like Calafiori. But I think the one that people are really concerned about is Gabriel and Julian Timber. So let's start off with Julian Timber. I've seen one of the guys I really follow in terms of tactical breakdowns when it comes to football saying, I can see Julian Timber's future being into midfield. I can see Julian Timber turning into, a midfielder like John Stones, like, and probably him doing a Lodri or him doing a Thomas Partey. So what would be your initial prediction of a starting 11 or a starting back 4 with Calafiori coming in?
Now, there's a lot of ways that can go. Now, you can argue last season Gabriel was not starting for us at the beginning of the season. Maybe, is he the one again? But I'm sure it has seen enough now since then to be convinced that Gabriel is definitely a starter. I don't think Gabriel should even be considered to even be dropped. Like, no way. Gabriel and Saliba have to play. Like, no one else can replace them right now, at least not for the next even 4 or 5 years if they keep on the form. Yeah. That combination is really good. They're not just good defensively. When you go to the opposition box, you basically cross the ball. You expect a goal from Gabriel and Saliba to get there at the end of it. So center backs absolutely staying the same. Now left back, I think Calafiori goes straight into left back. So Kiwi and Zinchenko probably lose some minutes there. Maybe Zinchenko will have to move to midfield if he's still at Arsenal. Now, if Timber is going to play, I think it's going to be at the expense of Ben White. As one of the comments said, I think I want Ben White to be starting, but I think we could see a bit of rotation. Now, we could also go the direction of we don't really have a fast team apart from the centre backs, because if I ask you right now, who is Man City's starting back 4? You cannot answer that question because
No,
it
you
can be
can't.
Akanji,
You can't.
it can be Ake, it can be Gvardiol. The only player who starts like almost every single game is Walker, and that's it. Diaz gets
Yeah.
rotated, Gvardiol gets rotated. So if you can go to that direction, it's fine. So people don't know whether you're going to start Ben White or Timber or Calafiori or Zinchenko. That is absolutely fine going to that direction. But the first game, I can see Timber probably being the first few games being on the bench. Now, in terms of him having a future in midfield, I can see that happen. He's very good on the ball. Even the games that he played for the under 21s after he came back, before he came back to the first team after the injury, I think one of the games he was playing a lot in midfield, and he's playing really well. He can control the ball in that midfield. He's a very good passer. I think he has the intelligence. I think the way he plays, it's very intelligent football, and in midfield, you need an intelligent footballer. Now, in terms of formation, is where I think you're going to see a lot of different tricks and a lot of messing of the opponents, like formations that will even confuse us as Arsenal fans. I think you could see a back three when you have the ball, which could be Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White, or Gabriel is the one in the middle, Saliba is the one on the right side, and then Calafiori the one on the left side, and then Timber goes into midfield. So depending on the tactics of the game, if you're just playing a flat back four, I think you're going to see Ben White playing most of those games. If you're going to try to dominate possession, like against a Crystal Palace or a West Ham at home, and you're looking to get 80% possession, then I could see Ben White being the one on the bench, and then having Timber in midfield, and then a back three of Calafiori, Gabriel, and Saliba. And then what that allows you to have is, if you have Timber and someone else in midfield like a Rice, that allows you to have 5 forward players, which can also allow you to have 2 strikers up front. So that is Havertz and another striker. And I think Atsa would try and find a way to get Havertz into the team. Don't be surprised if we are signing Calafiori to allow Havertz to be in the first 11 next season, because you're signing a striker. He really loves what Havertz brings to the team. So I think the casualties would be Kivio, Zinchenko, and then after that I would probably say Ben White. But I'm hoping we do it like Man City. I'm hoping Ben White plays sometimes, Timber plays sometimes, and you can rotate it a lot.
Well, I mean, I've accused Mikel Arteta of not rotating a lot, but that really doesn't mean he doesn't have the capability to, and that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to. Probably, as manager, he looks into his inner group and outer group, and he doesn't have those options. So I can see Timber play in midfield a couple of games. I can see Timber help out Jorginho in a couple of games, right? Because Jorginho doesn't have those legs to go game after game after game. But at left back, at least the Athletic told us that he played there, but he was never signed for that role. He was never signed to play at left back. He just played there, and Mikel Arteta was impressed with him in that position, and he said, "Wow, this is a player I can play at left back. This is a guy I can play at left back." And if Calafiori comes in and maybe the first year he struggles a little bit, we might Gvardiol struggled with at Man City for the first maybe 1 or 2 months. We could see Timber first play there as Calafiori gets into the groove with the team. Is he better than Gabriel? Someone asked me that question. I was like, okay, this is an easy one. I failed to find a way of wrapping my mind around it. And I say, this is one that we could actually crack on the podcast. Is he better than Gabriel? Is he more talented than Gabriel? Do you see facets of his game and facets of his of him as a person, as a player, where I would take this over him over Gabriel?
Talented on the ball, yes. We can't really argue with that. Carrying the ball forward, you already seen it for Italy. This Euros, carrying the ball forward and all that is very good. And I think you'd say it's better than other players. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, in terms of ball courage, I want you to answer this too. Do our players not carry the ball because they can't, Saliba and Gabriel, the centre backs, or because the Mikel Arteta doesn't require them to?
I think it's a case of not recurring to. I think Saliba is a better carrier of the ball than Gabriel, because I saw for France the other day, Saliba running with the ball for like 10 good seconds, like left, right. Like he's very good and confident in terms of that. I think it just tells him, listen, there's other players who can do that. You just do your job, just defend. Whenever you need it to do that, to keep position of the ball a bit, or you can have space to drive forward, you can do it. Now, in terms of what is better than Gabriel, I'm sorry to the chat, and I think I'm a very boring person to ask that question, but I can never come here and tell you Calafiori is better than Gabriel. I think Gabriel is the best defender in the world. I think Saliba is the best defender in the world. I think Saka is the best. Okay, so you cannot really tell me. You cannot really come and tell me is Nico Williams better than Saka. I'll tell you no, because I've watched Saka week in, week out, every single game, and I know it's very good. In terms of individual things, what you can add at Arsenal, for sure. Now, in terms of better than Zinchenko, Kivio, I can tell you, yes, because he can do two different parts of the games in terms of attacking and defending. Kivio is a better defender. Zinchenko is a better player going forward. But for Calafiori, he can do both. So I would say yes. But for Gabriel and Saliba, I think those guys have done so much for us in terms of defending and going forward. They've done so much for us. And keeping 18 clean sheets and keeping Haaland out 3 games, I can never just come here and tell you this player is better than Gabriel and Saliba. There's a reason why those two were included like in the team of the season by many people because they've been really, really good. And Gabriel at the beginning of last season, he wasn't really playing. I think he's really improved. I think he's improving every single season. Discipline. He picks up like maybe 1 yellow card every 7 games these days. Not too many mistakes. Like we can count maybe combined Saliba and Gabriel mistakes last season. Maybe 4, and that is quite minimal for a whole like 50
and many
games.
Many of them were just in the Champions League for which was kind of a new venture, panic, emotion and everything.
Yeah, and some others you can be like, okay, maybe just a loss of concentration. Maybe you're too comfortable. Like Nottingham away, no, Saliba made a mistake, considered a goal later on. That's Gabriel against Bayern. Maybe you should have done quicker with it. Liverpool as well on goal. Could have done better, quicker with that. But defenders always make mistakes. Like if you go to Liverpool and you count how many mistakes they made last season, you'll probably count like 4 or 5 from Van Dijk, 4 or 5 from Trent. So defenders make mistakes. But in terms of better than Gabriel and Saliba, I'd say no. Because in terms of aggressive, I'm not 100% sure yet if I can tell Calafiori, okay, deal with Haaland for 90 minutes and he doesn't get a shot on target. I'm not sure, but I can tell you that Gabriel and Saliba can probably do that. Now, there's a clip that is going around online of Calafiori against Osimhen, Napoli against Bologna for like 3-4 minutes during that game. And he dealt so well with Osimhen. I was like, oh, maybe this can convince Osimhen to come to us. It'll be like, I don't want to play against Calafiori. I want to be in his team. Let's go. Let's both go there. So he's a very good defender. I've seen him defending against Osimhen, and he can really, really defend. But I've seen more from Gabriel and Saliba. But listen, we are trying to debate about Gabriel and Calafiori and Saliba. That makes me so happy. Back in the day, we debate about who should start between Scolacci and Sylvester.
So it gives us options. It gives us option. It does. Now, again, one point I talked about recently was the fact that we did see and we did hear eventually that Saudi Arabia had targeted Gabriel. We didn't get to hear much of it last summer, but it came out after. And it got me thinking. There are times when, teams do lose players you don't expect them to lose. Like Bayern lost Cruz. None of us thought Cruz was going to leave Bayern to go to... especially at that point in time, Ronaldo going to Madrid under Ferguson, that was like, we didn't think that was going to happen. So do you think Gabriel could be targeted as one of the players, at Arsenal, and maybe we could see him leave? Could this be more than just Kivio and Zinchenko leaving? Could it be one main centre-back leaving, or do you think it's just Arsenal strengthening?
Arsenal strengthening. Gabriel cannot go anywhere. Not after the last 2 seasons that he's had. Like, I'm 100% convinced that would be shocking. Unless you're giving us 100 million, I cannot see like why Gabriel would go. Like, for the player, he's happy. He has a very good relationship with Saliba. He just started a new family in England. He's enjoying life there in London. The way the relationship he has with players like Martinelli and all that, Jesus. There's no particular reason that he'd leave. He's starting every single game. He basically feels like that position is his own now. Like Saliba feels like if I play well, I'm going to play every single game in this particular position. Now, the only offer that would make heads turn if they're coming with 90 million and 100 million. And you don't always get what you want, I guess. Saudi Arabia can want Gabriel. I've also wanted Rihanna for 20 years, but I'm never going to get her, So they're not always going to get Gabriel, always going to get what you want. So I'd say no, I'd just tell them just to get lost, honestly.
105 people watching. Hit the like button. Let's get this video to 300 likes. And a bit of breaking news: Arsenal and Calafiori's talks are progressing rather quickly, and Bologna are aware of that. The Arsenal offer that is being that's going to be the first one is being prepared. I will tell you, that I would tell you that, but I don't know what the offer is. But at least we know that they want 50 million euros. Now, Wisdom says, "I love Timber. He is good." James says Calafiori is not a bench player. Timber is not a bench player too. He's just a quality player, by the way.
It's crazy.
Arsenal need to summarize Williams and Gyökeres as soon as possible too. Thank you so much, James. Ayala says, but is the deal closed now? I mean, if you read the title very well, it shows you that Arsenal are close to agreeing personal terms with the player.
I
Ivan
saw
says, what about
I
Gyökeres? Yes,
saw,
please.
yeah, go. I saw a few people saying on X and stuff that Arteta and Guardiola have made football boring because of the back four and playing centre backs and all that. And a lot, now, whenever you watch big games like France and Belgium, it's 0-0. People are trying over tactical and all that.
Yeah.
Now, I think next season when you're playing Man City and Liverpool, it's going to be worse. Now, those defenders you're mentioning, all 5 of them are going to be on the pitch.
Are going to
Timber is
be on
going
the pitch.
They're going to be, yeah.
And there will be one goal, and it will be ruled out for a finger that is offside by the semi-automated VAR system.
And Man City are going to go with the same. They're going to have maybe an Akanji or Stones in midfield and go with 5 defenders, just
5
like
defenders
Arsenal.
at the back,
It's
yeah.
going to bore you to death. It's going to be a
Yeah,
0-0 until
yeah.
like the 80th minute, and then maybe something happens. So
Yeah.
I think you're going to see some of them on the pitch at the same time.
100%. The last comment we will take, Wisdom, thank you so much, says he's called Calafiori. Don't call him California. Martinelli, it says Martinelli plus 15 million. Plus 15. Yeah, Martinelli plus 15 million for Rodrigo. That is a Marvel design. I don't know what to say here. I really don't. Because when I think about Gabriel Martinelli, he's in the same bracket as those players. He was scouted the same way Madrid scouted Rodrigo, the same way Madrid scouted Vinicius. They never paid crazy amounts of money. Like they never signed done deals. They never signed finished articles. They were also refined. So Arsenal can also refine Gabriel Martinelli. I'm one person who has already said that we can massively improve on that left-hand side. But I'm not trying to sell Gabriel Martinelli. I wouldn't sell Gabriel Martinelli right now. I think next season he comes back. So, Glenn, 15 million, Rodrigo?
That's a difficult question. I've been watching Brazil at the Copa America, and I feel like Gabriel Magalhães should be starting. The defenders are not that great, and the forward players, they struggled with 2 of those 3 games that they've played, the Viniciuses and Rodriguez. Now, yes, they've done very well at Real Madrid, but I don't think Real Madrid are winning Champions League titles because of Rodrigo. It's a more of a coach and the team itself and the whole team. I'd like to see Rodrigo by himself without Cruz or Vinicius. Rodrigo is a very good player. He's a goal scorer. He can assist. But listen, I don't know. I don't like that of replacing our players. Like, okay, let's get rid of Saka. Let's bring Neto. Let's get rid of Martinelli. Let's bring Rodrigo. No, this team that we have right now, they are going to win the league. Forget about the other players.
100%. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Cossy and Glenn, where we'll be talking about Calafiori. In the next few hours, we will do a lot of content on Riccardo Calafiori because the deal is progressing very quickly. Tomorrow, we have a show with Glenn at exactly midday, and that is on Everything Arsenal. Make sure you do check out that podcast. We'll be diving into the latest on Calafiori because even now, we have an update regarding that story. So, good night. We'll see you right in the next one.